projects that you have done,
Yes.
have they returned something in terms of them?
Well, many times not.
Yeah. But you're okay with
particularly in filmmaking.
that? Yeah.
What I do, so I'm in a fortunate position where I've retired from what was a long public service career. So I've got superannuation just ticking over. So what I do is, quite separately, I keep an account where money I earn from music or acting, and I do earn money, not huge money, but I do earn money. I then use that to fund filmmaking projects, or to buy new equipment, or to buy musical equipment, so that in a sense it's self-funding. I don't make any huge profits, but what I do is make enough money to allow me to pursue my passions, which people would, it's both a hobby but also a profession. So I work as a professional actor, and the money I use I then channel into, for example, filmmaking projects that may or may not win an award, may or may not win a cash prize, may or may not get shown in the cinema.
But that's not your motivating factor.
It's not my motivation, otherwise you wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Independent filmmaking, there's no money in it whatsoever. Music there is, but if you actually figured out the amount you earn per hour, because I basically work in a dance band in, around the club circuit, private functions. If you actually work out the hourly rate after rehearsal, travel, what you get per hour, you're working for peanuts. So you can't do it for money. If you did, you wouldn't leave the house.
But you do it. So there is something that you're getting back, and
absolutely,
it's a feeling, I guess, that inside you.
And if you can cover costs, then that's great. Because it wouldn't be fair, for example, on my wife, to spend, now that we've got to retirement and we're starting to enjoy ourselves, to spend all my hard-earned superannuation income on my hobbies. That just wouldn't make sense, and I don't want to do that.
So it sounds like there's a little bit of planning that needs to take place if you want to fund your passion.
Definitely. Yeah.
For those of us, I guess, out there who want to get started in acting, film, or any type of entertainment, which you're involved in, what would be the first step?
Well, it depends on which aspect you're talking about. So we'd need to, because they're quite different.
I guess what I'm looking for is more general, from a passion sense. If you've got a passion, what would be your advice to people out there, whatever age?
Well, first thing is you have to find out what your passion is. So in order to find out what it is, you need to get out there and expose yourself to the various creative, we're generally talking about creative pursuits. You have to actually get involved and find out what they're about, and by doing that, it will hit you what the passion is, because you'll go, wow, I love this. This is amazing. I want to do more of this. I want to find out more. And then you're motivated to go and do some study or to take some lessons. A great example is I've just taken on a voluntary intern to work with me in my productions. Now this young lady's 16 years of age, and she contacted me and said, I've discovered that I've got a passion for acting and filmmaking, and I'd really like to work with you. And then she wrote me this long spiel about how passionate she was and why she wanted to do it. And that came from doing acting classes, getting involved voluntarily in film productions, TV commercials, whatever it might be. And she discovered that she had a passion for it at 16.
Okay.
That's fantastic. And then she took the next step, which was, okay, why don't I go and find someone or some people, and she's been trying a number of people till she found me, to see if they'll voluntarily, because I can't afford an employee, impart my knowledge and experience and training to help her. So they're the things, is find out what it is that you're really passionate about. If you think you're passionate about music, go out and listen to bands. Talk to people who play music.
So go and experiment. Just don't sit there and...
pick up a guitar or drums or bass or whatever. See what it feels like. Play with some people. You might find you hate it, but at the same time, suddenly you're... So in other words, expose yourself to as many different creative pursuits as you can, and the thing that is going to be your passion will come to you.
What about how did you personally address doubt and fear in your own life? If taking that first initial step to get out there, how did you overcome that?
Okay, it's a good question. I've always been a person that a little bit of fear and a little bit of doubt actually creates a bit of adrenaline, and I actually work off that. So
you use it positively.
I channel it in a positive way, but also doubt and fear only come if you're unprepared. So I guess what I'd say about that is, for example, in the acting world, if you're going for an audition, it's natural to be nervous. But if you've done the work and you've prepared for it, and you've done some training, and you understand what the audition process is and how to approach it, then even though you're a little bit nervous, which is a good thing, the training and experience and understanding of what you're doing will kick in and overcome the fear. So I guess for me, fear and doubt is overcome by preparation.
Okay.
And a little bit of fear and doubt is not a bad thing. It's actually something that you can use to actually channel that into the creative process that you're going into. And the other thing is, say you've got fear and doubt, jump in, take the first step, have a go.
So even if you fall on your face,
absolutely,
it doesn't matter. You can try again.
I mean, the first interview that I did, for example, the documentary interview I did, the lighting was terrible. But you know what? I won an award with it. I decided I'm going to make this documentary, and the lighting didn't. I was really, really disappointed in the way it was lit. But then I submitted it anyway to this particular competition, and lo and behold, I won an award because the story and the content of what I'd created overcame any deficiency, technical deficiencies.
Okay, so
then I went, this is great. Yeah. I've won an award, and I knew there was, so I learned a lot about it. Now I'll go and do another one. The next one was lit 5,000% better.
I guess you learned from that process.
Absolutely. So doubt and fear never stops me. In fact, if someone says to me you can't do it, or don't do that, it's too big, or you won't be able to achieve it, that actually says to me, well, I'm going to have a go anyway.
I guess that creates you're a bit like me in that sense. When someone says no, you go and do it just to prove to yourself.
It's a challenge. Yeah.
It's a challenge.
And but that comes back to the passion. If you're passionate about it, you can overcome mountains.
Going back to the preparation and getting in there and working with that fear and the doubt, were you leaning towards having that trust in yourself when you come to that moment? It'll
absolutely
work?
If there's one thing I've had all my life is absolute complete faith and trust in myself. People would say, to the extent where I'm so driven that sometimes I walk over dead bodies. I try not to, but I have been driven in my passions all my life. I don't understand, it's not something that I understand where people say, well, I'm not interested, or that's too hard, or that's not my world. I don't live in that world. I don't exist in that world. It's just not something that I can understand. Where people say, I'm happy to just sit in the corner and read a book, or listen to music, or not get out and do things. I can understand that, and they're happy with their lives. But for me, I get bored quickly. I need activity. I need creative process to